Hey, cuties. Hope you're having a nice Monday evening. And what do you mean nothing fits? Is absolutely true. I would never lie to you guys. Clearly, I uninstalled all mods. And then I just zoned this real quick. Like, really, I started building this yesterday night. And I just zoned a little industry. And now I guess we are left with this. So, I don't know what you're on about. Everything in my title is surely true. I would never lie to you cuties. Doesn't mean accusations. I don't stand for any of that. And let's see, I've not seen it myself yet, Elgendo, but I did adjust what you told me to adjust, and this looks a lot better. But even here, can you still see how we have slight color variation? I wanna investigate this. Because obviously it was my fault that it didn't work like it should have because of the way I treated it. Okay, actually that does seem color consistent. And this also seems color consistent. Okay, I said nothing. This is perfect. That actually means that maybe this is something we're gonna tackle today. I've not fully decided. Welcome in, Bearded. Nice to see you, mate. Because yeah, I've been not doing much off stream, but I did finally manage to knock out some of the places we've been working on lately. I can show you. Wait, hold on. Give me 1 second. I just started to stream, so I want to give you a very quick overview of what we did off stream, and then I'm going to show you what I mean with the invisible parking. So we finally knocked out all of this, and I consider all of this to actually be done. And we have citizens or people everywhere with pretty much all of this. We are now happy. One of the things we have to do that is very obvious to see everywhere here is that we started also detailing our sand piles properly. And we did some of them in the bottom already as well. But we have to do a few more in the bottom. But the top of this is pretty much entirely done. This small space over here is where we still need to plop sims. So this is something we're gonna have to do real quick today. But then all of this entire area I consider pretty much done. And I'm excited, to be honest, because that finally means we're doing some proper progress in this area and knock this out. In fact, even here at the bottom, some of the areas are entirely knocked out by now. We have this entire part of the quarry done as well. We have this part done, though there is a little missing thing here. We still have to detail up the sand piles in this area. And then this is pretty much set, though we have to correct the conveyor belt. And this is entirely done as well. And then mainly we're gonna have to finish up these two areas, but they're also very, very close to being done. And then really the main part either we do today, and you guys have all power of decision making together with me, is that we either build out this proper cliff. Now we fix this decal and turn everything into somewhat of the vibe we try to get in here in the start. Everything else of this is completely undetailed and looks horrible. So that could be one of it, or the other side could be that we finally start properly diving into this abandoned part of the mine. Because, yeah, really, this is entirely done, and this is like 98% done now, so making a lot of progress. And thanks, Brune, that's nice that you're enjoying this. Clearly, my title wouldn't be lying to you guys. I didn't do any work here, this is just zoned industry. The game is just really good by now, so I just throw this down.
My God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure?
Stay calm.
Heck yeah, welcome in, Jordan. Hope you had a nice stream today. Were you playing Cities as well? I assume you were, but hope you had a nice stream and welcome in. We're just getting settled here, and let's take a real quick break of what we've been doing so we can provide Brune with what I meant to say. And I hope I can find a proper spot, because I know that Brune at least sometimes had a bit of issues with these kind of parking lots. Doesn't really matter if they're invisible or not. Of course you were. I did not expect any different. And how has Cities been treating you today? You had a nice stream. And again, thanks for the raid and welcome in, raiders. So, one of the things that I actually learned embarrassingly late in this game that I should have known a long time ago, that Starq taught me, is that this is a big thing in the game that I did not know. And this just means that even in an invisible parking, you see what you're doing, really. So highly recommend to turn this on, because otherwise you just have this nice round thing, which I'm sure has been obvious to pretty much everybody playing the game. I did not know this, so I always place them and then afterwards move them in the correct position after figuring where they're facing, but that's not optimal. And then I think the main issue you were facing is with terrain, right? And here that's probably gonna be alright. Like, there should be no problem really with the terrain, but you can already see sometimes the terrain is a bit finicky, and what you do get sometimes is that if the terrain is a bit finicky, that the cars are either racing or flying a little. But the fix in general is a very easy one. You literally just have to do this. Take the parking lot and adjust the terrain so they're not flying anymore. It's a bit shitty to show here because obviously we don't have any cars parking there. I'm sure if we look somewhere in our city, we will find parking lots where I have not fixed it correctly. It's generally something... Yeah, see? Literally. Generally, I do move them afterwards and make sure that they are appropriate, but it's not always optimal when you just place them down, how they jump, right? So here I'm gonna adjust the filter real quick, because you see, this first one, this is a bit of a silly situation, because here we cannot entirely fix that, because it's a parking lot for all three of them. So if we raise it, the left one is gonna be too high, so here we're just gonna have to accept it. Maybe this one is a bit of a better example, because this one could actually get raised a tad. And really, it's all I'm doing is move it and move them up and down. And I think really that's all you need to fix your issue. And generally, the terrain of them often is incorrect. So I tend to pretty much always recheck the parking lots, especially if it's in a... Why are you flying, Mr. Rock? In a terrain like this, right? Because here, obviously, we have a lot of slope in there. I guess the slope kinda gets corrected. But then here you very easily get in a point where the terrain, obviously here, is a tad too high right now, and the parking lot is lower. This will look buggy. And then you just go in and adjust it to whatever your likings are. And yes, the transform tool also works, though my general problem with the transform tool lately is that our build is so highly detailed that we have decals everywhere, and decals are usually higher than the parking lots. So I cannot really use transform tool for much anymore, because I can never target anything. And welcome in, Clovis. Nice to see you here. How are the puppies doing today, and how are you doing today? Yeah, I mean, sometimes the truth is, Brune, sometimes the terrain is also too buggy, and sometimes it helps that, I don't know, if you want to put a parking lot in some area that's very crazy up and down, like here, for example, then yeah, your best approach would not be to just put down a parking lot here right away. But what I would do in this case is literally terraform the area to prepare it a little, so you run into less issues later. But then in general, I do think it makes sense to revisit what you did, and like especially with the parking lots, readjust them, right? Because these, for example, all of the parking lots we're using here pretty much, I all adjusted those manually after placing, because the ease of them never feels correct to me from the get-go. So I can just... What other menu for parking? This? Or this? This is a mod by Washi that I don't really use much anymore, because we have a lot more good vanilla parking, and I pretty much exclusively use dome parking and then prop it up, but there is other parking mods if you're interested in that. Yeah, no, I did not know that. Like, Horton, for me, it's one of the things I have to always remember that, or remind you guys of, while I play this game a lot nowadays, and I'm not as shit as I used to when I started playing the game 11 months ago, I am still not super knowledgeable about many techniques in Cities. I think I'm generally very technically aware of the game and know quite a bit about mods and things behind. But then there is very simple things like this that I had no clue about. I did not know this exists. I took a lot of troubles upon myself to work around this somewhat appropriately. So I'm really happy that changed. And I very much agree with Elgando. We need a mouse selector tool that lets us filter what we pick. Because really, in this entire area, it's been so painful. Because you guys can see, I cannot touch anything here, right? Like all of the vehicles, all of this is only covered by decals. So the only way I can recolor anything in this area is either if I place an object here, recolor it, and then use recolor to put the color onto the object here, or using move it and moving it high up into the air so I can recolor and position it and then move it back down. Which, again, horrible. This really should not be the way it is, but it absolutely is. And in all fairness, this used to be a bit less of a problem prior to the last Real Vision update, because most of the decals were a lot flatter. Now many of the decals, as you can see here, are like very deep and three-dimensional, right? This must be like 10 or 15 meters in depth. So it makes it a lot more annoying. Yes, such a hassle. Like, I'm not over exaggerating. Like, the worst thing in this entire build, because one thing you need to pay attention in my build that I guess is a bit underappreciated if you don't pay attention to it, but every single vehicle in our build is positioned correctly, right? Like, you can see how all of these are adjusted appropriately to be terrain conform, which in general I don't think is such a hassle. I pretty much always do that. I just click the car and rotate it real quick. Now the annoying thing is, if the terrain is like it's here right now, you cannot just click the car. So yeah, I need to move it up in the air with move it. So I can click it with transform tool, and then I can move it with transform tool to adjust it to the terrain. But for me, this is again something that really, it's a lot of work, but I think it pays off so much. Like, if these vehicles would all be just flat and not conform with the terrain, I do think the visuals and all of this would be a lot less nice than they are this way. So yeah, difficult really. Smooth tool kinda work on cars, but then the truth is I generally need to recolor them and adjust the rotation. So at that point I need to be able to select it with a cursor anyway, so it does not make the biggest difference. But yes, that would be a good solution to use otherwise. But yeah, I don't know. It's not the biggest issue, but it's a bit painful the way it is. And yeah, I swear, Chloe's puppies are so cute. I spent a little time yesterday watching Chloe's puppy cam, and if I would have puppies like that at home, you guys could be reassured that I won't stream for the next 3 months or something, because I'm gonna be busy spending 24/7 inside that puppy box, just enjoying life, really. So, pleasure and honor to still have you gift us with your company, Clovis, even though you have those cute puppies right at home. And yeah, very cute. Clovis has been very generous with us last stream, so I guess many people in here are subscribed by now. Look who it is! That is a very honorable guest audience we have here today. It's Michael the Giant, and I'm very happy to have you here. We've been making good progress. I mean, actually, lately your check-ins were a bit more regular. So I guess now you actually kinda know what we're at, but we're pretty much done with all of this. Again, we have to do a very few little cleanup, and we are getting really close to it. How are you doing this wonderful Monday evening, Michael? I guess you're getting to be a bit further with the house if you have more time to tune into my streams again, which congrats, and happy to see that there is a bit more time again for cities, so obviously your family should always come first. And that's exactly what I would do, Clovis. Like with that puppy box, of course, just take a laptop or a tablet, whatever you have and prefer. But then just lay down with the puppies and have a good time, really. First things first, I have no clue, and I am not that excited about the DLC. I am more excited about everything else. Like, I know that there is 2 leaked region packs waiting for us to get them, and I'm very excited for those. And then there has been something else that has been spoilered. We don't really know, but I'm sure you see in that spoiler about something coming before the DLC, which, whatever that is, may be exciting. And thank you so much. That is very cute of you, Hengamer. I hope I pronounced that name correct. If not, gladly tell me how I should call you or pronounce you. But thanks for the follow, appreciate it. And welcome in, Jay, as well. So, what have you not heard about? The announcement they made, or the leaked DLCs? Because, I mean, bridges and ports, don't misunderstand me. I'm very happy if we get a few more nice bridges. But then I have no water. I'm building in the middle of the city, so the port part of bridges and ports, I'm happy to have it, and I'm sure in some build in future we're gonna take advantage of it and be very grateful that we have more things. But then I don't plan on losing or leaving Los Vagos anytime soon unless I break the save. So the port part is just not that relevant to us. Okay, I will call you Handan, that's perfect. And again, thanks, and welcome in everybody, Kyla and Jay. In fact, Jay made something for us that is one of the next things we're gonna dive in today, because it's one of the things we need to fix up a little. And Jay sent us a more modern version of the amazing conveyor belt he already made for us. And I have not looked at it. I have put it into my game so we can use it together today. but I have not looked at it myself, so that is something we will visit in a moment. But happy moment that we just pleased all of these few sims, because now, exciting moment actually, everything on the top here is finished. Not this part, this is not fully on the top, so this is not included. But this entire part is now fully prepped up, has sims, has graffiti, has decals, has all detail work we could wish for, really. So we actually finally did something and finished something. All of this entire section of our mine is pretty much done. So this one, I love this asset. The truth is, I think it looks a bit worse in reality, because I think this into the ground, because I think it's too big, right? This is the actual building. Still really cool. I love that asset. Really pretty asset. But then I don't like the bottom of it. So as you can clearly see, what I've been doing everywhere in this build is just taking half of the thing and then moving it underground. And then just using the amazing windows and doors by Elegando to make it look like this is how it belongs. But really pretty asset. In general, the truth is many of these mine assets are really cool vanilla. Like this looks amazing as well. Like I love this. I like many of those. I think this is also an absolute beautiful 10 out of 10 asset. Many of those really with the assets I never had a problem. I thought they were great. I just hate how they were used to, or how they were used in the actual specialized industry, right? Where you have no control about them and they do whatever they want. But here we do have control, thanks to the amazing star cube blocks. We can just ignore the specialized industry, how it's intended, and play the unethical way, because very clearly my stream title is a bit made up. And thanks a lot, Ten, that's nice of you. And also thanks a lot, Michael, that's also nice of you. In fact, really, I'm very proud of this build, and I'm so happy to finally have this in here, just because I think it's so fundamental to Los Vagos, right? Like the entire reason why I think this city is here, and it is where it is two. And one is because there was a railway track going through this valley, and obviously cities evolve around railways. But then the more important part for me historically is this part. So I have not tried it because that still leaves all of the other ugly part of the specialized industry that I don't like. I don't just dislike the extractors, I also like the surface, I also like how it fucks with your terrain. I don't like the annoying vehicles that drive around in there you have no control about. Like, if we would use actual specialized industry here, we would have these giant excavators drive up and down these hillsides and through the buildings here. So again, I hate specialized industry. The more I can ignore it, the happier I am with the game. So well, Kyla, this is somewhat my Sandy Shores build, right? Because if you look at all of this is very much Sandy Shores inspired. But I don't want to do one-on-ones. I find one-on-ones very boring. I don't ever want to just recreate something existing. I want to build silly things that I come up in my head with. Like oversized palaces, or I don't know, weird art galleries, or I don't know, maybe if that's more your thing, a cockfighting ring, whatever, really. But I like silly things. I like just spacing out. We have Trevor's trailer, like you were laughing, but this is Trevor's trailer, literally one-on-one recreation of the in-game Trevor's trailer. And this entire block is also Sandy Shores in essence, because for me Sandy Shores is a rundown motel even though looking very different than this, but a rundown motel. And then is a gas station in front of Trevor's trailer, and it's Trevor's trailer. And obviously this layout is very different and a lot more condensed, but basically this is all you want. I'm not really doing much, Hen. Like, this is pretty much the vanilla look of the game. I don't really use much visual altering mods. I use sunglasses, which make the sun behave a bit different. And obviously I'm using a theme to make my map look like we're in a desert and not like we are in a normal grassland, which generally, yeah, this is like 100,000 of decals and surfaces and everything, but this is just the theme, right? If there would be nothing on top of it, this is how the map would look. But I don't use Lumina or anything. I do use Preserve Photo Mode, but we have not set anything in it. So this really is just a game being pretty. I know many people think they need all kind of visual mods to make the game pretty. I think the game is very pretty if you just have a pretty build. And you don't need to do too much on side of that. And yeah, I very much agree with you as well, Michael, that this fills a lot of land. It's actually, we've been talking about it the last stream, that just this mine, because I was always like, oh my god, I'm so slow, I'm taking forever to build this out. But then if you look at the actual area we're filling with this, like the mine is like, I don't know, half of Los Vagos, really. And then our botanical garden is like half of our mine, so both the botanical garden as well as our mine make up such landmass. But I'm very happy with that, right? Because I never care about realistic scale. I care about if things seem realistic more than if the actual scale is realistic. And for me, it's mainly the question, and I do think that's something where everybody of us can learn a lesson from GTA, because I think they are very good in instance of condensing their cities and cutting out everything that is irrelevant, right? If it doesn't tell a story, don't show it, don't build it, condense it, show everything that deserves to be shown because it's interesting and tells a story. And the truth is, our mind tells a lot of stories, so it also deserves a lot of space. Meanwhile, Suburban Sprawl does not really tell much of a story, so 1 or 2 blocks of Suburban Sprawl do the job fine for me. And I guess that's generally how I view my cities. And welcome in, Mr. Drogan. And really, we did so much progress, because here that already is all we have to do. This needs a bit more base detailing. And then this is also nearly done. It's mainly plopping sims. And then we're done with the entire bottom area as well. Then it's just this weird cliffside that we have to tackle, and then the entire space of this. Yeah, I mean, GTA is like, and it's not only GTA 5. Yes, GTA 5 is probably the most obvious one to check out, but I am a big fan of any GTA series since pretty much forever. GTA 3 is amazing inspiration. GTA Vice City is amazing inspiration. All of that is, so I'm very happy, really, with any GTA, and I think all of them offer a lot of inspiration. And yeah, Hen, thanks so much for tuning in, and have a wonderful good night, and glad if I see you more in future, but enjoy your night, and see you soon, I hope. Why will I complain about it? Maybe I will complain about it. I have the tendency to complain about things. So heck yeah, we can actually choose the vehicle without having to move it into the air, which a rare occasion in our build, but we like it, so you can easily angle this a bit correctly, and we also need to... actually, this should be fine, maybe. Yeah, no, actually, this should be good. Maybe. I don't know. I seen your pack at the start. I have to be honest. I did not like it as much, but I guess that was also just your very early tries. All of the very recent screenshots you posted of it do look very good and interesting. In general, I do think though everything for roof is very sensible to bleeding. And my advice would be make them small. Like the one as you can clearly see in this build, we pretty much adjust all of our roofs. In fact, that's something we still have to do here. And one of my lessons is the smaller the decal, the easier it is to work on it, or work with it on a roof, right? Because you get less bleeding. And I'd rather just place the decal 3 times and fill out an area, but have to deal less with bleeding issues. So I would recommend you to make the surfaces not too big, but somewhat modular, so people can adjust them. Well, I mean, that's actually further than I thought it is. I thought you were closer to Hamburg than 120 kilometers, but somewhat. And yeah, Jay, I'm gonna be mean and answer for Jay, even though he maybe wants to answer himself, but yeah, he's also German. Honestly, a lot of Germans in the cities community. I mean, a lot of Germans in most gaming communities, but I think especially in simulation heavy titles where you don't need to actually be good at the game, it makes Germans even more likely to be there. To Jay or to me? Because knowing Jay, I'm sure he will take that as an insult. And fair, I also would not want to be mistaken with an American. Jay really, if there is anything I learned about Jay lived everywhere in the world at some point. So I'm not surprised about that at all. Yeah, literally what Gaga is saying. Like, there is not a single place Jay has not lived. I wouldn't even doubt Jay probably has lived in my mom's basement for 2 years in his life, and I don't know, had been living in the guest room of the Kremlin for half a year. I don't know, nothing would surprise me anymore, really. I mean, that's a fair point. I get that. I mean, again, I love my mom, so I would never say anything bad about her. But then, with what I heard, other gamers in the internet who I played Counter-Strike against tell me, my mom must have been a real slut, because goddamn, she has slept with many different kind of gamers. Or at least so they claim, but surely people on the internet don't lie, so it must be true. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, I've heard that many times before, so I guess everybody does, which is fair. She's a very nice lady. It's hard not to love her. And I thought I already did this here, but sorry, we actually did not do proper decal work here and stain the roofs and everything. What is a pack that, Riza, if you feel motivated in making stuff, make proper stains that are not too over the top? I want exactly this kind of stain, very subtle, very light, very much unintrusive, but in smaller. I want exactly this one. I should just do it myself and stop being a lazy bitch, because that seems really easy to adjust. I literally should just cut this decal in a few different areas and then use more smaller ones, because sure, this works, but we need to be very careful working this way not to get ugly bleeding like we're throwing here. So yeah, this is not the optimal case, but this is my favorite stain, so I use it anyways. I mean, yeah, I guess it does make sense, but it still is crazy, because there's been so many places where you will say, I've lived there for a while, that I don't know. I don't seem to be the only one having noticed, if Gaga immediately jumps in saying the same. God damn it, actually I thought we stained all of the roofs here already and did all of this, but we're a bit further away from finishing than I thought we would be. Because yeah, I definitely wanted to have all of these roofs appropriate. Welcome in, Urban, nice to see you. How are you doing on this wonderful Monday evening? Here we can't really not bleed with this one. This one is pretty good with bleeding if you use it in the right spaces. So let's see. Yeah, with this one we can get away to get some light shine without much bleeding. But you see even while I'm working with these, Riza, what I mean, right? Because if all of these would be just flat, then I would bleed on every single building, and then yeah, I know I can also hide my bleeding with other decals, but then it forces me to be generally even more dirty than I'd like to be in an area. So I think especially for something like stains and dirts, it's very nice if the decals are small and compact to avoid bleeding issues and give you a lot of freedom. Really, this decal here alone is a godsend. I use this for so many different things. And I don't know how we would build this build without having this decal, to be honest. Here we get ugly bleeding. I'm not gonna place that. I don't like it, but get a very little sandy shine. Come on these as well. Here again we're yeah, no, we get too much ugly bleeding. Not okay. This is okay. Honestly, fine enough. One on here and then a little on there, but we need to pay attention. We don't bleed on the tank. I think one of the things that probably is going to be a bit difficult for you to work around with as well with roof decals, at least I noticed this, is that many of the roofs have very different metallic properties. So in some of the roofs, like this one for example, roof decals look incredibly weird, and there is quite a few examples of roofs like this where suddenly they behave a lot different than they behave everywhere else, and it makes it a bit more difficult to work around with. And I still need to do something that Elgando told me to do, and Elgando, as always, obviously is right. We still need to go in and make our logos a bit shittier. Rock Solid Mining and Big Dick Quarry are both great names and great logos, but then they're both a bit too clean and vibrant for where we are. Surely my stream title isn't lying. Urban, I would surely not lie to my cute viewers. So this is just zoned, right? Like you just go into the game, you zone a bit of industry. This is how it looks for everybody. Surely we're not using mods and detailing much. But yeah, I spent a long time on this build. Like we've been literally building this for 3 weeks now. In all fairness, I was in holidays for like 1.5 out of those 3 weeks. So it's not like it's been full 3 weeks building this, but yeah, it's been a bit of time already. I am wholeheartedly mainly excited because as soon as we're done with this, we can finally dive into this side. And one of the reasons why I want to dive into this so bad is that I think right now, if you look at this build from a bit further away, the quarry and the mine look absolutely stunning, but then since there is so much half finished on screen as well, that's not optimal yet. I think it drags it down a bit, and we definitely want to like actually get the entire area to be in shape. And welcome in, Fashion. Nice to see you, you're cutie. How are you doing today? Oh, and finally it's time. We're gonna have a look. I think we should probably just get it right here if we click. Yes, nice. Because you guys have heard me say this before. This is where we got on the conveyor belt for, right? For this very run-down rural part we're gonna build in future. I also want something like that here, but I think the one we have here is a lot too vintage and old school for the style of mine here. So I asked Jay if he can make a metal version for us, and I even asked him if we can get another angle as well, because I need a different angle here, and look at how pretty these are. Like, it's literally in essential the same thing, but since they are metallic, I think they fit the vibe of our modern mine way better than this does. So one of the things we're gonna do is yeet all of this ugly garbage out and replace it with a new pretty ones that Jay gave us, because I do think we probably need to terraform a little here, because we will most likely need to adjust the terrain to the slope of the conveyor belt we're building a little. So I'm fairly sure this is gonna need quite a bit of adjustment, but let's just dive in and try. We wanna start as high as we can up here, just so we have most room to work with the terrain. Something like this. And I'm doing wonderful. I hope it's the same for you. I'm wholeheartedly just excited to be done with this eventually. Hold on, am I being silly? Jay? Oh, you made it deeper at the... Okay, actually this was... I expected this to function different, but it does not matter. That just sadly means we don't really have any need for this element. I expected it to angle exactly like it does, but then to have the lower angle fit these ones, so I can go straight in there. But that's not a problem, and we just work around it. Means we probably have to terraform a little more, because we're gaining less space. Unless you were saying you wanna adjust this, then we can just leave this for the next time instead. But yeah, the reason I wanted this is if we look at the slope here, and obviously this is horrible placement and it will not work like this at all. We can clean this up, but it's already kind of obvious, even with what I place here, that I'm generally very close to the terrain here, and I need to gain a bit of room. So if I get this element the way I hope now you understand what I mean, then it allows me to gain a little more space away from here, so I'm a bit more flexible with the terrain. Yeah, I mean, this angle is perfect. That's exactly what I mean. This angle is exactly what I want it to be. The only reason is that in this element, I would want the lower angle to be 30, and then the higher angle to be the one that actually adjusts, so it gets a bit flatter than 30. If you get what I mean. But then I do think we are actually probably gonna not do this today. We at least had a look at the asset together, because it's really pretty. Like, honestly, this is exactly what I wanted, Jay. Sadly, with that one misunderstanding, that is obviously my fault. I should have explained that better. But otherwise, this is exactly what I'm wishing for. And now the question is, if you guys, because I'm sure Elgendo is very excited for me to place more rocks, because Elgendo is always very excited when I do nothing but place rocks in my streams. So you guys kind of have a choice on what we're gonna dive in today. It's either that we are starting to tackle this cliff, and this cliff is gonna be a lot of placing decals and plants and rocks and then recoloring them to get this look. This is exactly how we want all of this to look. Or we actually abandon this part a little and dive in and start detailing out this area a bit more. I don't mind too much. Both of it has to be done. Whatever you guys would prefer seeing is what we can work with. The only thing I would like to actually do before we do that is detail up those sand piles a bit. And welcome in, Dava. Nice to see you, cutie here. How's it going today? I'm not criticizing. Oh, well, Jay is criticizing, I guess. But I'm not criticizing. I said I'm sure you're excited to see me place more rocks, is all I said. Actually, Dava, I have some rail porn for you that is a channel exclusive that you will not be able to see anywhere else. At least for now. What do you think about my cute rail porn I have here? Is this not adorable? Is this not exactly the kind of railway to get you excited? Yes, we actually have mine cards here that we plan on properly using for our mines. We built a lot of weird things here. We built this weird custom freight elevator, or Jay built it after I was wishing for it, and then eventually, I'm not sure if you've seen this before, but I'm sure this bridge gets you excited. Eventually, I want to have some connection here as well to bring the lorries down over the bridge, and then probably here, I'm not entirely sure how we do it, but we're probably gonna have like a reload section here, because initially I thought maybe we can pretend to bring the trains up here, but makes no sense to bring the trains up here. So I think the cleaner solution is if we actually pretend that we bring lorries down here and then have a small station where the lorries arrive and then reload it onto onto the train. So interesting. I mean, yeah, I'm sure you'd love this. I'm sure Jay would also gladly send you this. Though what is a bit problematic, obviously, is going on there. I was thinking about it because we don't really have a way to put a rail in an elevated segment without it messing with the terrain or getting bridge pillars, right? Because it would be super cool if we could just take a normal rail track and bring it over here as well, but I don't think that is possible. So, yeah, I don't think that's something we can do, sadly. And how are you doing on this wonderful Monday evening, Davam? This is probably what Elgeno is going to be the very most exciting for, because this is kind of a rock recolor stream in disguise. Because obviously, we will proceed and recolor these rocks here in a moment that we're placing. And I'm sure Elgeno is already excited. Our channel used to get the most exciting for bollard time, but then since we've been building industry so much, we did not place bollards much. I guess now the coolest thing we do is recoloring rocks. Oh, you are gonna change your schedule again, or team? Because sadly, your schedule was very EU-friendly in exactly the time where I was in holidays, and then came back and was stressed and wanted to stream a lot myself as well. So I did not manage to take as much advantage of your EU-friendlier schedule as I would have hoped I could. Visuals, hold on. The purpose is, as everything in my build, to look prettier. This is how it's gonna look. Trust the process, right? It looks very silly if they are gray, and it is how they are right now. But then if you trust the process and you give me it like 5 more minutes, this is how it's gonna look. And I do think what it does, and the actual reasoning why we're placing those, is to break the uniformity of those a bit, because I think the sand piles are very pretty, but they're a bit too rigid and clean in shape. So really, I don't want these to be boulders. I am just desperately trying to have an element which allows me to like loosen the shape of them up a bit. And welcome in, Maza. Nice to see you, mate. I seen you actually also been streaming Cities today, but sadly you were streaming in the middle of the day when I still had to work, so no chance of me tuning in, but I hope Cities treated you nice today. I tried that, James. The coal truck piles, they are very finicky because they have, like, they are open to all sides. So especially in areas with terrain, you're left with like 5 pixels of them that you can still see where they're usable. And I do think, while this looks very weird currently when they're uncolored, I do think this actually looks pretty nice visually once we recolor them. It's just this short moment where we place them and they're still gray and not recolored yet, and also there is no plant work done around it where they really look quite out of place. I mean, I guess I don't think it matters so much for streaming. The truth is, there's always people in the world that are awake and have time. So if you stream in the morning, you just stream to different people. If you want me to be a regular watcher, then yes, you need to stream later. But if you just want to have a good time on Twitch, then I think you should just stream whenever you feel like streaming. I have tried with the hedges so much. I hate the hedge match. I don't I'm not gonna like it. The one thing that probably would be a really good fit, but that is not recolorable, so that doesn't really help me much, is how are they called? The debris, these here. These would be amazing, but these are not recolorable. So these we can't use for it. But if I could recolor these, then this would be exactly what we'd be looking for. Can we recolor the UK hatch? I'm not even sure about it. Also, now comes back to the point, I cannot touch a single rock here. And so now you see the weird booty gameplay. I have a color reference rock up here. So if I want to recolor rocks, I go up to that color reference rock. Because that matches the color of, damn it, we forgot. Never mind, we're gonna do all of them in one go. We need to do this one as well, and then we can recolor. What is the adjustment to your stream schedule gonna mean for the later, earlier? What are the consequences gonna be? Because I hope not later, because then yeah, that means you are streaming in the middle of the night for me, sadly. That actually is sick. I mean, I don't care. Like for me, even if just a single stream where I know I can do that if I have time, and yeah, that are times that should allow me to check in. Okay, now we go back to our color reference rock up here, and we recolor all of the lighter ones first. The color is not as nice of a fit as it is with the dark ones. I will probably try to find an even better color to match even closer, but I struggled very hard to match these appropriately. And I spent a long time on it and decided, okay, for now we're just gonna go with this. But yeah, it's not entirely optimal. Okay, light ones all recolored. Now we want to recolor the dark ones, and actually here maybe we still wanna. Nah, that one is fine the way it is. The red one we can reach. I'm a natural nerd. I know I can target this one, so I always go to this same rock to steal the color for this. And then we throw this on there, and then we're gonna do a quick layer of vegetation around these sand piles as well. Because I do think, yes, right now it still doesn't look optimal, but then this sand pile looks so much more natural than the way they are right now, that I do think, even though it's a bit annoying and tedious, that this very much pays off. Did I forget anything? I don't think I forgot anything. Yeah, I mean, again, the truth is, I think, yes, it, especially if you can manage to have a proper stream schedule, then that should be the optimal. My life is too uncertain and I don't really want to deal with a schedule. So I stream whenever I want to, and I don't think times matter that much. Sometimes you have viewers, sometimes you don't. Somebody's always gonna be awake. So I think the main thing is, if you feel like streaming, just go stream. And if that means it's somewhere in the morning, then you're streaming to Australians or people from New Zealand. Oh god, we actually missed some here. But I think maybe here we can touch one of the rocks. Of course we can't. So we're gonna go back here to this one we can touch. And then actually hit the ones we missed here. Alright, that's better. But I'm sure for you, your streaming is also gonna look different, Masa, when your university actually starts again and you are not just free all day. I mean, it's just the nature of things, right? There's many people who I love Grey Noise. I think his streams are amazing, and everybody should check out a nice Grey Noise stream. But then the truth is, I can pretty much never attend any of them because his stream times are so opposite to my life and working hours that I'm either sleeping or working when he's streaming. And it's just that way with some people. Like even Wolf is very difficult. Generally, sometimes lately he's been streaming a bit earlier, so it's been easier for me. But most NA people, especially if they stream late in NA, then I can't. And I'm not doing clean work here today. We forgot even more small bowlers here that we didn't properly recolor, which is not the quality of work we're looking forward to. Yeah, I mean, I guess if I have a chill morning, then yeah, also sometimes tune into Grey, but generally I don't have enough time in the mornings to properly watch somebody. So sometimes, but yeah, very rarely. Here, that should be fine already, and then we can just go over these. Oh, why are they on 000 suddenly? That's not what I wanted. Yeah, it's funny you say that, because for me it's like, if I watch Grey, then yeah, same, then it's during breakfast while I have a coffee or something. But that's still a lot different, and like, I don't know, if fashion streams early, I like chilling in there for like 2 or 3 hours while I play the game, and actually like being there for a proper bigger part of the build, and that's just not really possible for me with Grey. Of course. I will think about that. Actually, it's difficult. For me, the truth is, because I admire all of your guys' knowledge of Google Maps and everything. I don't spend time on Google Maps, right? So unless it's a place I've been to, I don't usually have great inspiration. It's mainly from movies and films, but then I have little actual one-on-one real-life inspiration, because I spend so little time on Google Maps. That's why I'm so happy when people post Google Maps stuff in my Discord, because I do like to look at cool places in Google Maps, but if you have no clue where to find cool places, whenever I go on Google Maps, it feels like I just look at a boring road or boring suburban sprawl that doesn't teach me much. But then when I see some of the places you guys show me, it's actually interesting and inspiring instead of boring. Actually, one hour is enough. And I know I said we're not gonna put too much citizens today, but the truth is we're so close to actually knocking out this entire area that now I'm so hungry in actually getting through with this. Well, I mean, everybody should build the way they feel like, but the truth for me is like I'm in too deep at this point. I cannot stop anymore. I spend so much time on this mine to make it look as clean and perfect as I can. Now I'm not gonna cheap out on the last little bit. Now we're gonna keep going as strong as we can. Because really, like, I think the one thing that I appreciate the most about this build is we have these industrial signage of El Gendo everywhere, right? Like the amount of small detail this build is throwing at you is absurd. Like, there is not a single vehicle in this entire build that I have not rechecked the rotation being correct to the ground and like rotating and readjusting it to that. Like, there is a lot of love and sweat in this build. Which is funny, because then I zoom out, and if I zoom out, it does not look very different than, I don't know, a week ago. If you zoom in, it looks very different than a week ago, but yeah, it's difficult. And I mean, I guess you're right, Kyla. I'm still fairly new to Cities as well, right? Like, I had 30 hours in Cities 1, and I did not like Cities 1 that much. And I started playing Cities 2 pretty much a year ago by now, so in terms of Cities players, I guess that is still relatively new. In any other game, obviously, that's not really new anymore, but Cities community seems like it's 90% long-term CS1 players who are just addicted to the game and can never get out of it again. And I asked you that before, I think, Kyla, but I think you didn't hear, or maybe you were lurking or something, but I'm wholeheartedly curious, because I know you are getting into Cities, or are into Cities now, but you went with CS1. So has there been a specific reason for you to decide to choose CS1 over CS2? Because I'm not saying CS1 is not a great game, quite the opposite. Many people in the community seem to still prefer it over CS2. I personally always preferred CS2. Ah, nice. I'm always checking if we can realistically bring people into terrain, because I think it adds so much stuff. And yes, it is realistic that people have access up here. So we can perfectly fine add a bit more depth and love here with placing sims in actual curious positions, right? Because now if we have a look at this, I do think this makes the world of difference. This one person standing up here, or if you look from this side, makes a world of difference. So there is somebody actually up there. So really, one of my biggest recommendations when you're placing sims, if you're as motivated as me to plop them down everywhere, make good use of the possibilities of putting them up somewhere. Like this, for example, would be another spot that is 10 out of 10. How is your PC that struggling? Because I know everybody says that CS2 is such a hard game and needs such a beefy computer. My computer is literally, it's possible to buy my entire computer for under 900 euros nowadays, I believe. And it's fine. Like, my performance is not amazing. I'm struggling to have constant 30 FPS, but it's very well good enough to Uppsala. That is not optimal. But my computer is very much good enough to at least play Cities. Maybe not have the perfect and smoothest experience, but otherwise it's perfectly fine. Can I manage to place him in there correctly? Come on, game, don't bully me like this. I don't deserve this. Well, it's not really where I wanted him, but I guess good enough. Now what I'd really like to do is get somebody in there, but I guess we can only do that with a lot of manual work, which, who cares, we're willing to put that manual work. We're gonna go here and move him. And now we're gonna have to be a bit finicky and see when he actually is in the perfectly correct terrain. Oh, never mind, we should move him to the upper floor. It's even more interesting. And nearly fine. Now we need to lower a little. Again, probably a detail that nobody beside us will ever notice, but I find it very cool if you look at the build and you find small cute details, like people actually standing in places where it would make sense to see them, but it's a bit unexpected. Something like this, right? I guess nobody's ever gonna notice this, but we know we put people there. So what I don't fully follow what you mean, Elgando. Even though I reread that sentence twice now. You mean that 30 FPS feel less smooth in Cities 1 than in Cities 2? You need to elaborate and explain it to me, because I'm being silly. Here I'm wondering, because this entire space seems a bit empty, but then we don't really have much reason to put plants here. That would be my normal go-to, but I think that's a bit too full. I do think it being as empty as it is actually is alright. Maybe we can put another vehicle somewhere in there to make it a bit less weird floaty. Yeah, the reason I didn't put a decal here is that we get very ugly bleeding of the decal, sadly, and I'm not willing to redraw all of that. But if we put it here and then angle it correctly, that should be fine. Here we have the issue I always complain about 24/7 in this build. I cannot touch this vehicle. It's inaccessible to me because there is decals everywhere. So the only way we can probably work with this is if we go into move it, if we go into props. Now we take this beautiful car and raise it up into the air. Now we can change it, and now we move it back down with transform tool, but now we have it chosen, so now we actually have control over it and can adjust the rotation and everything of it. Is not optimal, but it is what it is for now, I guess. Okay, good enough. And I am so silly. Did I just actually deselect the vehicle? I deselected the vehicle. Now that means we can't recolor it because I can't target it. But I'm gonna be lazy and we're just gonna find one of these vehicles we can target and just recolor it that way. Because I'm not moving that thing up in the air again. Really? That's curious, actually. Because, again, I don't think CS2 runs great or anything, but I think it runs pretty okay. Like, really, my computer is pretty shit, and I don't know, I've never really crashed. One of the proofs of that is that we have not saved today. Because I don't know, I always forget saving because our game runs so stable that I don't remember that that's something we have to do. Oh, really? I am so happy about that, Elgando, because that is literally my biggest pain point in the game right now, which is also very much specific to the build we're in right now, right? Or may... Why is this angle so bad? But our build itself is so terrain heavy and angled that it's a lot more tricky in our build to touch things than in most builds. So we're an especially bad example of this, but yeah, it's not great anymore, and I know I'm also not the only one facing issues with it. But that's really cool. That's actually really, really cool that that's something getting adjustment. I should have asked that earlier while being in this build, and maybe we could have profited from it ourselves, but then, I don't know, I did not even think about that being something easy to check, because I think in the past I asked about this issue, and I recall that I always been told the game doesn't really give any possibility to target much deeper. But I guess it does, which I am very happy about, but yeah, it would be super cool, honestly. Especially now, I think it's gotten a bigger problem, not only for me, but for many other people as well, cause of the update of the Real Vision decals, and many of them now being so much deeper and more three-dimensional that it's an issue you're more likely to run in now than a few months ago. Alright, this is done, all of this is done, all of this is done. The only part that actually needs some plopping sims and small detailed work is this. And then again, we could dive into the cliff, but I do think instead of diving into the cliff now, what we should do instead is dive into this part a bit more, because it's the least finished part. It looks the most bare bones, so when I look at this build from the air, this jumps out to me the most, because it looks so incredibly unfinished. And I would like to get the build look a bit more appropriate from those further shots. So, oh, one more of the popular lady. Why are you running through my building? In mid-air. Where are we going today? I mean, I guess I'm happy as a major. I think it's great that the people in Los Vagos do some proper exercise. This is not the exercise I personally would have had in mind, but I guess as long as they move and run through the middle of the mountain, then they do what they want. I'm not gonna tell them to stop. Hey, what's up with everybody always being this high in Los Vagos? Not okay. And here now comes the tab of absolute scariness. This tab is so overloaded. We are actually getting issues in here, but has to be done. Just wanna get some base vibes on this so we can throw this down a bit more appropriate. And I know for all of these, most people nowadays use Write Everywhere for everything. I think Write Everywhere is amazing and should be used a lot. But I also think Write Everywhere is incredibly tedious, and to get a bit of proper look down, I think it's still king to use decals for everything. Especially with the dice decals we have here, because again, these are our Los Vagos signs. They are very specifically made to fit the vibe of Los Vagos, so obviously good and easy to use them here. So we also definitely here want to use one of the Sulis and even maybe one of the El Gendo decals. There is a very specific one of Suli I'm looking for. Is it this one? No. Is this one? I love this decal. I would have hoped we can position it all the way there, but I guess it should be here. Is a smaller one better? I guess actually the smaller one is more appropriate for us. And sure, we could do all of this with Write Everywhere as well, but it would take us 10 times as long. And we have good options for this, right? I think Write Everywhere especially shines if you want to do something that you have no options for. That's not possible. But if there is something good you can fall back on, you're saving so much time that, for me at least, that's still the way to go. Yeah, we do really, I don't know, there is a few tabs that are especially complicated. The most complicated one for sure is this one. Like, this is just an absolute goddamn mess right now. But there is many others that are a bit problematic. I mean, I'm to blame in the graffiti tab mainly that it's such a mess, so I'm not gonna complain about it. But yeah, if you sub to most graffiti packs out there, then that's also horrible. Oh, also, I did not even notice that. Gentleman, why are you there? Not supposed to have a gigantic rock in the middle of the building? Yeah, I have to search here a bit because I don't know all of these so well. What can't be changed with a lot of work? What do you mean? Sorry. You mean decals? Yeah, I was thinking about that as well, because like even if we ask for new tabs, then that also means that every pack author actually has to adjust the position. Yeah, and then the truth is that many of the decal packs seem like half abandoned, not really abandoned. They work perfectly fine, so it's not a problem, but it's not like many of them are getting regular updates like yours, so yeah, I guess would be a bit difficult if you just throw that on there. Because yeah, you're right, every pack would need to get an update to actually go into the right categories, which is not super realistic. And I know that Chaos always tells me that I should really use his new or future released liquor store decals. And I would love to do that, but then he has to release a decal pack before I'm finished with the build, else that sailed. But we would have a space, like this is kinda here, because I think we could make this into a liquor store. But that depends on how quick Chaos is. So if he's too slow and we're done with the build, then I take no accountability for that. See, with a gas station, meanwhile, I'm a bit split, because there we have decals, and we also have proper... For gas stations, maybe right everywhere still is very attractive, because it does give you some possibilities you don't otherwise have. So, goddamn, there is so many packs who run on the same UI order as well, that the problem is not just how messy this entire tab is, but also how bad organized everything in this entire pack is, making it an even bigger issue than it would otherwise be. So, yeah, kind of problematic. Do we find all of the Starkey ones like this as well? Ah, God, he shows us every single one. Hold on, can we use the filter and take only custom? This is something I want to ask TDW about, because I know we have this show only custom assets, and that's really handy sometimes. But I would also like to have the opposite. I would also really love a setting where I can say I don't want any vanilla assets, but I want the proper vanilla, or the no custom assets, but I only want vanilla assets instead. I don't think that's a possibility. Yes, you could. Like, if you design them and I like them, then I can gladly even do the finish up for you. If you feel motivated about that, and if I don't like them, then I can teach you how you can finish them up yourself. But yeah, that should be possible. One of the problems I guess you will run into is that you will not be able to publish them properly online without having the game yourself. So that is holding you back a bit, but does not have to be an issue otherwise. Which is the most old school US gas station? I guess Chevron is probably the most classic one. Because I'm a bit confused. We should... Oh, here we're actually getting them. I'm blind. We should have seen that before. Because yeah, this is exactly what I've been looking for. Yeah, we don't have SO. I want to work with... I could use right everywhere. But again, I don't want to overuse right everywhere. I want to mainly use it for parts where I think it really makes a difference. And like go in hard and make it a custom build. But then for something like this, I am quite happy with the pre-finish ones we have. So I'm going to use these instead. Is that too much if we turn this blue as well? Probably is too much. Yeah, in fact, is way too much. We don't like that at all. Even the red I'm not entirely happy with, if I'm being quite honest. What is if we turn this into a nice blue instead? I very much prefer this instead. But yeah, if you want to make brands, that's actually really easy for CS2. I don't know how any of that worked in CS1, so I can't make proper comparisons. But in CS2, adding things like brands is really straightforward nowadays. A bit less straightforward if you wanna like publish a proper pack for it, but even that is not much difficult. It's not really properly the chevron colors, but the chevron colors are too punchy and powerful for what I want to do here. So I do think I like this, and I'm perfectly happy with it. What kind of brands are you thinking about? I'm curious. Okay, we managed to show one of the windows and hide the other one. I guess we can't, and we don't care about these windows. So we're just gonna go over both of them. Is this part of Chevron? Not really. No, we want all of these. Yeah, no, actually, we want all of these to be different buildings. So we don't really need to do much here. I do want to keep this very rural and bare bones. Obviously, we're gonna go in here and detail harder and rework a lot of this more appropriate. But again, for now, I would really mainly like to get a base layer down into this area to get the vibe of this a bit more appropriate from further away. Because the main area here we're gonna dive most of our time in surely is this one. But here I already did what I want to do in that side and like generally put some surfaces and fade them a bit and give some appropriate look. Here we already thrown down some surfaces as well, but they are entirely bland and blank. And I think it really jumps out in comparison to the rest of the build. And I know I could use a radius tool, but then the radius tool is so inaccurate and always deletes in bigger areas than I want to. And I also find it quite therapeutic to delete these rocks manually. I don't know. Maybe I'm a masochist, but I find it calming and relaxing for some reason. And here we have to figure a bit. I'm not entirely sure how I want the surfaces to be routed here. I think we're probably gonna pretty closely follow those terrain lines. I'm just gonna take any random surface for now. But even with a random surface, we wanna find the right angle to the building. Something like this, I guess. Now we can just throw it down. I guess we can try to make it a bit more smooth, especially here in the start. And welcome in, Cookser. Are you back playing CS2 again? Because I've seen some screenshots you posted, but I did not have that much time lately. So I wasn't too up to track, but I think you're playing CS2 sometimes again. And thanks, it's still pretty much the same area. I think you tuned in a few times already while we were working on this. The good news is this is pretty much entirely done. The only part that is not yet done is this cliff, because I want to turn this entire cliff into this style we have here. But everything else here is finished, and the only part we're still missing is this very rural rundown part. And then the truth is, I think this part is gonna be a lot less work than these places, because here the props itself do a lot more of the heavy lifting for us, and we will have to go hard, but the area is a lot smaller than all of the rest, so yeah, mate, have a nice evening, and I hope I could help you a bit with your invisible parking or domes parking issues, and I hope any of what I showed you earlier makes them a bit easier for you. If you still don't get something, just ask again, and I'll try to show it better in future. I'm so I love this surface. Elgando, why can you not make this surface 100 times but make it look unique and different every time, so I can just use it everywhere? Again, enjoy your night. I'm curious if that is okay, if you actually plan on building that, would you post it? Because, I mean, I do find your concrete blocks very cool and stylish. I also do find them pretty difficult to build still, because I don't think we have the best tools for Eastern assets yet, but generally should be perfectly fine. I have never, is so curious, because I think Fashion himself also does that very often. I have never watched a Twitch stream in the television. That seems crazy to me. But then I know that Fashion also enjoys doing that. And honestly, it makes sense. I just don't spend much time in my living room by myself. Generally, I'm at the computer instead. And why are you back to your concrete block? The real favorite build of yours will always be your Brazilian build. Like, I really think you don't abandon your Brazilian build, mate. That build has been absolute gold so far. You should totally stick with it. Yeah, thanks so much for tuning in, Urban, and have an absolutely wonderful good night and sweet dreams. And thanks for tuning in. Hope to see you soon. And I want to see that place, Elgendo. Do you have pictures of that? Did we use these? Because these I also quite like. They fit the vibe very good. And I guess we're not using them. We can leave it for now. All of the surfaces are pretty much... Oh, we are using it here already. This, I'm not sure if Gaga is still here, but if Gaga is still here, this is something that I am actually gonna use your surfaces quite a bit for as well, which I don't think they're intended to be used like this. But then especially in a rural place like this. Why is there so many blocks here? There shouldn't. You guys get your ass out of my build. But especially in a place like this, I think this works pretty solid as an old... What did Gaga, I'm just a bad streamer and I over read things. I'm scrolling up to see what I've missed. Oh, what my theme is. I'm very sorry. I literally just... especially when I'm reading messages and trying to build something in the same time and not only get sidetracked, I miss stuff sometimes. Yes, I'm using Rocky Sandy. Currently, I'm actually not using it perfect, because I think the perfect one is a selection out of multiple themes. I think if you want to see the best settings that I ever had there in my Discord, I want to reapply them. I think in the pinned messages in my general chat, there should be a message that says something like for reference and is a screenshot of my perfect theme settings. Because once I spent like 50 minutes or something to like try around with all kind of different themes and tiling options and all of that to see what look I like the most, and then I took a screenshot and put that in my Discord. But then I changed my theme around a bit lately and my settings reset, so I should go in my Discord and have a look at that myself and then reapply it. But yeah, currently we're just using Rock Sandy. Again, I do think you can make this a little prettier with the settings I found out back then that you can find in my Discord. Are you asking because you're color matching or because of the grass you teasered? Maybe I'm saying things I'm not allowed to say on stream yet. Gaga is totally not working on new cool grass surfaces that I'm already excited for. I would never just spoil or something like this, guys. Also, this is a truly unmodded vanilla build. I'm not lying to you guys. I would never. I mean, if you're interested, then sure, we can talk about it. Ah, what an absolutely amazing song that just started playing. I love it. And yeah, here, the reason why I'm so slow adding dirt here is that I have to be really careful with the decal we're using here to not bleed everywhere ugly. Especially if the terrain is a bit rougher, like it is here. We might go back and terraform a bit before we properly blend them, because the most important part of our blending really is the outer blending. And here I can already see, definitely want to go in here and terraform this level further down. Be it here as well, else it's gonna be a bit more difficult for us to fade these nicely. That should be a lot better. Yeah, I mean, though I'm a bit confused, because the truth is, like, I said this many times, but if I'm looking at your existing grass surfaces, yes, all of the left variants for me are not great, because they're too heavy, right? Like these, I can't really use them. I don't think they look bad or anything. They would even, like, I think they match pretty well, even with the sand. But for what I want to do in Las Vegas, they're too heavy. But then all of the second, the lighter options, I think these are all amazing. Yes, it requires a bit of work to blend them nicely, that they don't just look thrown on there. And this is one of the darker ones. This one is probably a better example. But I think any of the second ones of your surfaces works great in my theme. So I'm not sure why you think it's more difficult this time. Yeah, man, no worries. Thanks for tuning in and enjoy your lure, Cosmic. And again, Gaga, I also think you should never focus on my weird desert build and just optimize it as well as you can for grass builds, and I will find ways to use your stuff anyways. I mean, yeah, that would be very cool for some areas, so I'd like the sound of that. But yes, I guess it's more difficult with less transparency, because then it matters more that the shades of the surface and the actual map seam are kind of in sync and matching to each other, and I guess that's a lot more difficult if you wanna make them work for grass and desert, of course. But again, don't focus on my silly desert build or anybody's silly desert build. Just focus on grass builds, and if there's a few surfaces that work for desert as well, and I'm very happy. We're gonna have to blend this a bit better later, but what we're doing here, I think, is one of the biggest difference makers in this entire build in why things look the way they look. It's because we take time to fade every single surface, right? Like, these surfaces just look bare bones and too bland if we don't do what we're doing here. I think the cut into the sand is generally too harsh and not good looking. So we always, with every surface we play, spend a lot of time going around it and trying to blend it into our weird sandy hellscape properly. Yeah, I mean, you're totally right. Like, even in many greener and more grass biospheres, you still have dry periods in the year where the grass gets dry anyways. Like, Germany is super green in general, but then if it's the middle of summer and temperatures are plus 30 degrees for a longer time, then yeah, stuff here also gets really dry. So I guess I like it if I get more, and there is a good reason for you to make the stuff that fits for a desert. I'm a big fan of it. Hold on, here it actually does not matter that we draw on everything, so we're gonna take the original one, because this one doesn't draw on buildings. And I know this maybe seems like it does not make the biggest difference. It makes the world of difference if you look at this from further away. I always tend to not only blend the surface itself, but give the building some slight level of sand around it, because I think that's just how it would be realistically. Probably not as extreme as in our build, but generally in the desert, yes, you will have sand blowing around and collecting in corners and in front of the buildings. So I do think this is pretty appropriate in general. And already this bit of blending, it seems a bit weird still, because we have this empty lot here that still breaks it up a bit. But just looking at this part, these two surfaces, this looks so much more belonging into Los Vagos than it did just a moment ago. That really, we sadly put this work onto ourselves, but now we can't get out of it anymore. We will have to do this everywhere in our build for the rest of our life. That would actually be amazing, but I guess that's just a fever dream that would never happen. But imagine you could choose or make a theme, but have different variations of your theme for the different seasons. So you could have actual surfaces that change in summer and winter and autumn, which probably a bit heavy to detail around, because failing and everything is gonna become more difficult, but then that would make the game feel so interactive and the weather cycle a lot more interesting than it currently is. Because currently I think the weather cycle pretty much adds nothing but make things more inconsistent. But it's because there is no story told, it's because there is no proper adjustment, it's because winter season looks as bad as it sadly does, but if that would be made better, then it could be really cool. Does Manor Lords have that, with the seasons adjusting more appropriate? Welcome in, Carnage. Nice to see you, mate. And what do they do in Mana Lords? Like, the entire game adjusts to the seasons? Or how are they solving that? Because for me, one of the things that I still think is the biggest shame in this game ever is that they built all of that season system, but then since I play the game, the winter landscape is pretty much unusable because of all of the cars having the snow in their windows, and it looks completely ridiculous and clowny. So that alone forces you, if you want to properly play the game, to just turn seasons off, because else you have to look at that horrible mess of snow in windows every single time there is winter, which really, I don't want to have to ever see that. And with the school, I'm actually a bit undecisive, because I do guess, even though we have little fences in this area, the school should deserve a fence. Because, I mean, here, I always said we don't really need proper fences. If people fall, they fall. We pretended to put some safety measurements, so good enough. But yeah, with school kids, I guess we should actually put some proper safety in there. And very much appreciated. Thanks, Gertie, and thanks for tuning in, and enjoy your lurk. This is actually crazy for me. We have not built normal parts of the build for such a long time now. We've been just doing industry that I'm actually not used to, just detailing normal residential or urban spaces at this point. I mean, yes, you have a point, 40, and the truth is, if we put a fence, I would put the fence only here in the front, and then in the back they can run off in the hills. I don't really care, but it at least looks like we care about safety. Do we actually care about the safety? Not really. But do we want to pretend to be a caring major? Also totally. Is the main reason that I don't want to put the fence back here, that the terrain is so messy and it's gonna look horrible. Also totally. So it works both in favor of us, because I don't want to have to deal with that, as well as story-wise, so it makes a proper excuse for us. And I don't know why, whenever I build a school, this fence here just screams school to me. Probably that's just me being a European and not having any clue about US schools. But for some reason, this really seems like a playground school kind of fence to me. So we're gonna use it for exactly that. And again, I think we're gonna leave the back side of it pretty open, and even in the front is gonna be a lot of open space we're gonna cover with bollards. But for the looks of it, we're gonna have some pretentious fans here, so we can feel like we're taking care of the kids. Yes, I love this fence. I really like this fence. The one thing that I don't like about this fence is when you use a normal net lane, then you get this weird thing. But I accepted a few things in this game now. I think I can live with it if something looks bad, because I build it bad, or I didn't do a good job at building. I don't like it, and I try to my hardest at making it better than it is. But then if it's something where I'm like, hey, I'm doing my best, but the game is being bad and they should be fixed and is kind of a bug in my eyes, then I can live with that. Then I can just blame the game. I can dodge all accountability and feel like I did the best anyways, but it's not my fault. So depends a bit on a case-by-case basis. And welcome in, Andy. Nice to see you here. How are you doing on this? I always want to say wonderful Monday evening, but then I guess for you Americans, it's not yet Monday evening. So... yes, but the thing is, I can live with that. If there is a proper workaround, then sure. But there is a few things where the game is so generally bad that I'm not willing to deal with that, right? For example, a really good example of that is specialized industry, right? Where I refuse to build specialized industry till Starcube made his blocks. Because I find the specialized industry to be such a giant disaster in the game. And yes, I know I can overdraw all of the ugly surfaces, but do I really want to bother with that? I don't. So I just waited. But then if it's other things, I can handle it. If it's just small workarounds, I don't mind so much. Yeah, I guess both of you are just +6, but then with the US can go up to +8, so really depends. I'm always very torn about that, because the truth is, I think it's part of what keeps me in the game. Yes, it is very tedious, and while I build it, I also often feel like, oh, this should be a bit more straightforward than it currently is. But then if a game is too... how do you even call it? I shouldn't say too well polished, that's not what I mean, but if a game does too much of my work and I reach the result too easily, that feels very satisfying, especially if you play the game a bit, but I do also think that makes it a lot more likely that I reach a point where I'm done with the build quickly, because I feel like I'm so limited that it's at that point whatever, and I just get bored of it. So I think part of the brokenness of this game actually keeps me in the game. Shouldn't be that way, but in a weird way, I guess it does. And is this not perfect? Like all of these, me talking about, oh, we're gonna make this safe, we're gonna put a fence, just so we put bollards here in the middle of the street, so the school kids have no problem just running onto the street anyways. But this is exactly the kind of carrying major Los Vagos has. Now, again, we can say we have a fence, we tried our best to keep the kids safe. If they run on the street and get run over now, I don't think that's our fault. I think the kids just need to learn better, really. I actually, because the church, I love the church that Frag made, but the truth is that the church itself is not fitting to the style of our build. I have not seen this. Having a clock like this is a tad too big for most of the things I'd like to use it for. But this is lit. We're definitely gonna find a spot where we can use a big clock like this as well. That's really cool, because again, the church in general, absolutely amazing. If anybody of you is building a European build, you should go ahead right now, download this amazing church and enjoy it in your build. I don't think it fits my build architecturally, sadly, so I'm kinda avoiding it. Yeah, the issue is a bit that I still have quite a bit of nice things I'd like to do in this area. But the truth is, we have no more space. Like, by now, I won't be able to add anything that's big, really. I can add small details and we can add some story and vibe to it. But that's pretty much the limit of what we have in freedom here at this point. But I was thinking, I mean, to be honest, this is kinda what I want to turn into exactly what you were talking. I think these buildings, even though they're from the Dragon Gate pack and have this Chinese lettering on them, I do think these look incredibly Western saloon town-like. So I would have loved if we would be able to... Upsala, why is that decal not where it should be? But I would have loved to be able to use a clock in any of these. But it's a tad too small. In fact, there is a cool building from this pack that has a clock like that built in, but I didn't manage to fit it well. Yeah, I mean, you're right, because you were the reason I found these, Puxa. Because I looked at all of the Japanese, or all of the Dragon Gate buildings, and there is a lot other pretty buildings in the Dragon Gate pack that I would totally want to use. But the majority of them is not recolorable, so I never really gave them much attention or importance. Till Puxa told me that some of them are recolorable, and then sent me a picture of the ones that are recolorable. And the ones we were using there were some of the ones that you sent me in that picture, and I'm using them since, because I absolutely adore the model of them. I just would have assumed they're like the rest of the Dragon Gate ones, and you can just have them in grey. And yeah, then they're not much help to us, sadly. But since we can recolor them, I adore and love them. What is the technical reason that some packs are fully recolorable and others aren't? Is that something... Does that depend on the mod author and how they put the color channels on their buildings? Or what is the reasoning that that behaves so different? That exact church? I'm so bad today, I keep missing messages. I'm gonna catch up real quick. What are you gonna have to ask Jay for a favor for? Because yeah, actually I miss a lot in chat, my bad. I'm a bad streamer, so catch up time real quick. And I mean, yeah, I guess you do totally have a point. I'm not saying that the game shouldn't be better by default and shouldn't make things more easy. But then I do think like the more pre-detailed stuff works, the more complicated that. I would be more interested in getting the steps to be less tedious to detail things, right? Instead of wanting more pre-made detail, I would want the tools to be better, to have to invest less time into good detailing. I mean, that's actually crazy if you're gonna do that and get all of the businesses in a one by one, but that is gonna... That for me, that sounds like big burnout, Christy, if I'm being honest. Yeah, I mean, that we can take off the lettering, I agree, is a bit annoying. But now we have right everywhere, so covering these up is not as tedious anymore. That would have been a lot more bad with just EIA. But then on this building, the truth is just we're gonna have to spend, I don't know, half an hour or 50 minutes or something, depending on how good we are doing in that day, covering up all of these signs with nice custom right everywhere signage. But yeah, not optimal, but I'm willing to do that because I like the model so much, really. Yeah, I also noticed that you're very much through the level of the detail varies a lot. I think a really good example for that is the US packs that we use so much. Because yeah, many of them need very little detailing because the base asset is so well made and carries so much detail already that it cuts a lot of corners. I do think that also makes build a bit, I shouldn't say boring, boring is too harsh, but makes them more similar to each other, which I guess is just how the game goes. We use the same assets after all, but the more you're forced to do custom detailing, the more unique and different to each other the builds also will feel. Yeah, which is hilarious, because I love generic assets. I think generic assets really are great. They often look not as nice as assets that are a bit more specific, but they totally make up for it in flexibility, because if stuff is generic, you get to use it in a lot more situations. So I think sometimes that is a perfectly fine trade-off, to have stuff be a bit more basic and generic, but therefore also more flexible. Yeah, I mean, I generally agree, and I actually think by now Los Vagos has a bit of the size that I would like to actually maybe build a proper Chinatown part into Los Vagos itself. In fact, we kinda have that. I eventually want to turn this into our Chinatown, right? Where here we're also using my very favorite out of these Dragon Gate assets that, again, shout out to Kuxe for showing me we have those. But this has exactly what we just been talking about, right? It has this perfect clock. I wanted to use this building as well over in the mines, but the issue is it's a bit too big. Like, it's not a big difference to these two, but the style of it looks a lot more bulky. The entire build looks bigger. So I didn't want to use it there, but I love this. And in Los Vagos, I want this to be a small Chinatown. In this place, I don't want the city to be functional anymore, at least not to the amount where you have running neon signs. I want half of these short stores here to have covered window boards and be closed and run down, and then have a few leftover businesses and old people who don't manage to get out of a dying city. But I do really want to portray a dying gold rush city. I mean, with gates, I have to admit, actually, I am not that great with gates, because I dislike building fencing in this game so much. But who is really good with gates is Clovis. Like, Clovis spends a lot of time on cute custom gates into different builds, and I think he nailed many of them. Especially the UK pack actually has quite a lot of very potent meshes to get really pretty gates out. Though I guess you are limited to the meshes we have, of course, but again, the UK pack is very solid for gate meshes. What do you not use enough? Storefront. I love the storefronts. For me, the reason why I don't use them so much, I can explain this very easily, because I love using them. You mean just the asset of the storefront by itself, right? I did that here, for example, because the entire back of this hotel is empty. There would be nothing here. Now I'm gonna show you why I dislike the storefront. Please. But never mind, we're not allowed to touch that. We're just gonna find them by ourselves. The storefronts to me have one big issue that make me use them a lot more. Oops. Make me use them a lot less than I would otherwise, and it's very easy to show. Not with this one. Probably now, after I said it's easy to show, I will not find a single one, or I can show it easily. Or all the vanilla ones, because the vanilla ones generally are the prettiest ones, but also the most complicated. Are they not? Just called storefront as well. What field? Ah, we have the, absolutely my bad, we have the only custom. My bad. I had only custom items in there, so it didn't show the normal ones. This is my issue, that in many of the storefronts like this, you have depth, right? Which makes perfect sense, because then if you look at the buildings, they have depth as well, where you can go into. But I would like to be able to use them on a place like this, but then obviously, since it has depth, we can't really do that, because we only keep the parts in the front. Some of them don't have that. I feel like especially the very pretty ones that I like the most usually have some kind of depth, right? This amazing asset. I love the entrance door. What makes this so pretty to me is this entrance door with a small roof on top. That's beautiful. But then you put this against a different mesh, this is what you're getting, right? So you can still use those, because obviously if we go into the mixed residential and we use the static plopper builds, they all have that ugly hole, right? Where it allows you to use them properly and make use of that depth. But sadly, what they are not very flexible for what I'd like to use them more, and we sometimes use them for it, but is something like this, right? Like this building, it has storefronts only to the front, not to the side here. I want to have a nice plaza here, so I want some stores in this side as well. So we're using storefronts here to put them in front. And yes, you can use the one without depth, but again, it breaks my heart because the one with depth are really pretty. At least many of them are really pretty, but they are entirely gated for us, sadly. Which is a bit of a bummer. And I guess there also is not really a solution to that, because there is not something you can build or prop up really quick to solve that problem. It's just the meshes not mixing with each other. That actually would be really cool, thinking about it. I'm not sure if something like that would be possible, but something like the clipping surface we have right now, this weird thing, that allows us to make holes into the map. This. If we would have something like this to draw on buildings, obviously it's a surface, so we can't draw it vertically onto something. But if we could have something like this in buildings, where we place it on there and get a hole in the building, that would be really cool, because it opens a lot of possibilities, but I don't think that is possible technically. Sadly, if that would be possible, that would be really cool. Yeah, I'm very curious to see where you're heading with your Brooklyn series, because honestly, I love your Brooklyn series. Like, you put so much love and effort into that series, and it does really show. I just like highly modded, detailed builds, and your Brooklyn build is a beautiful example for those. I mean, yes, but then the truth is, like, if you think about some of the most amazing builders from our community, for example, Sully, and you look at how many videos Sully releases, that's not because Sully is lazy or Sully does not play the game. That's because Sully wholeheartedly spent weeks on the build itself, and then he spent weeks on editing all of the footage and the videos afterwards as well, right? So goes back a bit to what Kuxa has been saying earlier, that many things in this game just require a lot of time, and if you want to get a build to a really top tier level, then yeah, that just means you will have to also spend a lot of time on things. It's why we're making such slow progress in this build in general. Because I don't care if we're finished with this in a month or in a year, I just care about the build looking cute when we're done. And I mean, even like I don't generally watch much City Planner Play streams, but I did watch one of the recent City Planner Play streams, and City Planner Play spent the entire goddamn stream on propping up a single building with right everywhere, right? So even generally traditional, less detailing people, I think, are getting more into detailing. Now it's a bit more accessible and easier for people to do. So who knows where the game is gonna bring us eventually? Because I'm curious, for all of the CS1 players, did detailing in CS1 feel quicker and easier than in CS2? Were there tools or mods that sped up the process quite noticeably, or was it similarly time consuming? Because I would at least guess that it's probably been similarly time consuming. We have that one so close in this side, so rather this, something like that. Again, we don't have to bring this to 100% now, I just want this area to start looking a bit more finished and belonging to the rest of it. I mean, for me it's also a difficult thing, because as a viewer, I like two things. As a viewer, I think I'm very specific as well. I don't need all of the build time lapses. I find that part boring. I generally know, if I see a build, I know the technique, how it's built in general. So I don't need to get shown that. I'm just there for the showcase part of it. So I like that, and I very weirdly, even though he's such a different kind of player to me, very much like the style of content from Infrastructurist, for example, as well. Yes, he also details. I don't want to say he's not a detailer, but he makes a lot of fairly fast progress in his build. He has an agenda and a goal, and he fills out giant areas and thinks more logically about how the city should function and its development and all of that. And I think in YouTube that is a great functioning format. I watch a video for 40 minutes where I deep dive into something, but then on Twitch, for example, that's not gameplay. That really works for me. On YouTube, meanwhile, I do think that's amazing content. Yeah, Infrastructurist and Sully and Canadian, those four, and Infrastructurist as a very first one. The other two I found over Infrastructurist being in my YouTube algorithm. But Infrastructurist is the main reason I am playing this game, because I found their videos very chill, and I liked, while doing something in the background, watch Infrastructurist videos. And after doing that for a while, I was like, oh my god, now I really want to play this game as well. And then I knew I still had CS1 on my computer, and I reinstalled CS1. And I played CS1 for half an hour again. I hated it so much. I immediately uninstalled it and bought CS2, because I've been watching CS2 videos. I wanted to play that game, not CS1. So it's not CS1's fault that I didn't resonate with it this time, but yeah, I didn't. And yeah, have an absolute wonderful good night, Gaga. I did not, Gaga. This is why you spreading lies. If we're doing the spreading lies, Gaga also promised us that all of the surfaces he's been working on since a while, he finally finished them, and will release all of them this week. If that happens, I also stream every day in the week. We have a deal there. And I wish you a good night, Gaga. Have sweet dreams. And yeah, for me it's not... Yes, I agree, CS1 does look too cartoonish, and I very much prefer the visuals of CS2. But it's never been... My issue with CS1 have never been the visuals of that game. My issue have always been the absolute horrendous roll tools in the game. How can something like as simple as building a road in a city builder cause this much physical pain in me? It's literally the one thing the game should be good in. It's a city builder after all. I need to build roads all the time. And I hate building roads in CS1, so I think it's such a core mechanic. It's like if you have a racing game, and that racing game looks really pretty, has great performance, the vehicles in that game, everything is great, but the driving is really shit in a game. No matter how great all of these other things are gonna be, unimportant, right? Like I don't know. And I felt exactly that way about Cities 1, because I'm sure it's a great game, and also I'm being unfair because I only played it unmodded, right? And I don't think CS2 is a great game unmodded either. So it's not really a fair comparison for me to compare my modded CS2 experience with unmodded CS1 experience. But yeah, the road tools were just horrible. And if I imagine cities on the console in general, I lose any hope in humanity. But then yeah, if I imagine having to build an intersection in CS1 with a controller, I'm not sure I still would be around today. Because that literally sounds like it's gonna make her blood boil. And I'm seeing that there is an ad break in a minute, and I have not had a break yet today. So if I can find a police patrol real quick, please be a police. It is a police, but we can't click him because he's under decals. I need that tool that Elgendo told us about earlier, that Triton is gonna adjust into the game, where we can change the cursor. Here we should be able to click him. Here is still decals. Here, okay, finally. Because yeah, I'm gonna take a real quick break and head to the toilet and grab something to drink while I set you cuties on a road trip. So be right back in like 3 to 5 minutes and enjoy the road trip and your ad break, I guess. We're back, cuties. Bye-bye. Right, I'm back already, but I'm loving this. We're actually having a road trip through the detailed part of the mine already. I wanna enjoy this till we leave the area, which probably is now, because we're heading towards the exit. But so cool to finally see this build from this perspective. And also this is so cool, because especially the police vehicles, they use invisible passes a lot, and we have a lot of invisible passes that are not actual roads, but bringing us through the backyard and back alleys here. And coppers actually driving through there is absolutely beautiful. And I guess we're not leaving yet. I'm so happy, because really, this is a site we went as hard on as we possibly could have, and this is a site that I consider to be done. So even driving through here, I also realized that there is some things we did here that we still have to do in the quarry site as well. For me, there is two vehicles that, because I think it's the nicest, why would I throw you guys into some boring be right back scene or something, instead of letting you guys enjoy a nice road trip, or at least put you on a nice position on the map while I'm gone. And the best vehicles for road trip is either a police vehicle or the park maintenance vehicles, because they have the longest routes. With other vehicles, I always run into the issue that eventually they don't continue their road trip. What is going on here? Why are we suddenly going absolute snail speed? Sir, what are we doing? Okay, curious. Okay, we just half drove through that wood. That path can need some optimization, I guess, not optimal. And hey, guys, as always, sadly, really, since your holidays has been a disaster. Every time when I could attend a stream of you, I'm streaming myself, so we're pretty much been missing each other very hard lately. But I hope you had a nice stream today, or I think you've been streaming today. You usually do on Mondays, I'm not sure. And I guess caps are also really cool for road trips. The reason I don't have much caps is because I try to have as little like cap depots and such as possible. So in my city, caps mainly get used for people moving in and out, so they mainly drive in undetailed areas instead of areas that I like to. Oh, well, alright. Then I hope work is not too shitty today, and I hope you enjoy the vacuum lady giving you a nice vacuum concert, because I'm sure she will. And I guess my game is very laggy right now, so I'm gonna save real quick, because we last saved over an hour ago, which is not great. And I realized that sometimes when I get very bad stuttering, what helps me is to zoom out, look at my entire city, and go over my entire city, and then my frames are better again. I don't know why. I think it has something to do with the game deciding we have not seen that area enough, so it doesn't need to load it. But then whenever we move the camera and something there comes into our vision, then he has to load it and we stutter. Not entirely sure what is happening there, but something similar to what I just described. And I don't know why, but if it helps us to look at the map, then we gladly do that. I don't mind. Well, you're sitting in a mess for now. I'm sure the vacuum lady is gonna take care of it anytime soon. Okay, see, I've been talking about you today, so it's actually fitting you're here, because you know what I said roughly an hour ago, and Fashion laughed over it. Because I said you kept telling me that I should use your liquor pack in this part, But I literally been saying that you have to hurry because we're at the part where if it's not out within the next few days, then the build is done and there is no place to put a liquor store anymore. So you saying you put it out tomorrow is exactly what I wanted to hear. Because I do think this would make a very nice liquor store right here. This cute spliced building out of two weirdly spliced residential blocks and then this storefront. We're gonna turn this into a liquor store. But yeah, if you would have waited another week, then that moment would have passed and no more liquor store for you. So I like the sound of it being tomorrow. Because in general, the truth is, I always like your decal packs, and sooner or later, I'm generally gonna use them. But if the timing is bad, then it might take me a few weeks to get to a place where I am in a position to use it. Especially after we finish this entire mine area here. We're mainly gonna spend time in this area of the city, I guess, which means more industry. So we won't build that much commercially in future. Heck yeah, I love it, because literally one of my worries, because as you can see, again, is a tiny building, right? Like I'm not gonna have super much space to put stuff. But if you have tiny billboards, then yeah, lovely, because we can totally plaster off the side here and put some up here in the front. So lovely, I'm happy to hear that. And nobody should ever optimize their packs for my build being so rural, but I just noticed that with many of the commercial stuff we have in the game is just too big for our build, so we can't really use it, even though we'd like to. But yeah, very cute, I like. Thank you, thank you. And fashion is probably the right person to answer this to me. Me using as many roundabouts in a traditional old US city as I do in this one, or not really roundabouts, I guess more cul-de-sac. But yeah, we have a cul-de-sac here, we have a cul-de-sac here, we have a cul-de-sac here, and we have an actual roundabout here. So I guess that is probably a bit unrealistic for a historic US city, knowing that people in the States don't generally like roundabouts. No, I mean, okay, then I like. Because I think especially nowadays, yeah, you do see a lot of cul-de-sacs, but it feels like you mainly see them in more modern urban development than in more traditional parts. Really? Okay. I very much like the sound of that. Though I know you, I guess I never, because I had a busy week, I actually forgot about coming back to you about that. But you know that I read very meanly last week, and I don't mean it in a mean way, I actually mean that in a very positive way. But said New York doesn't count as the US because it's so European. And obviously that is very much incorrect, and there is many things that makes New York very much American, and there is also many cultural things in New York that are very much US exclusive. But I more mean in general cultural values. I think generally New York is more liberal than most places in the US, which generally is more European, and it's a lot more dense, like most parts in Europe, and it's a city that actually has proper public transport, which I would say is more European than American. So while I love New York, whenever somebody tells me they want to see the US the first time in their life, I would always tell them don't go to New York, not because New York is not an amazing city, but I guess because it's the least culture shock you can get in the US, right? Like as a European person, if you go into Texas or Arizona or Utah, it's gonna be like, holy shit, this is so different. This truly is America, right? And then New York just is like more American version of London, I guess. But the margin between the two worlds is a lot smaller, so therefore a bit less interesting, I would say. It's not just, it's partly city planning and infrastructure, but it's not just that. It's also the general vibe, and again, I don't really mean pop culture or something like that, but I mean like vibe in the New York is very un-American, I think, in many parts. Obviously, that's also a bit different, and many parts in New York are incredibly American, and you're like, holy shit, this is true US, right? But then I guess it's more true US in more typical American places. The same goes for California, right? Like I also think in a bit of a different vibe. I think California probably is more cultural shock and a bit more interesting for Europeans. But California also in general is a lot more European than the rest of the states. I mean, really, who all of us need to get to give us a really good lesson is Dava, because I know in many streams Dava doesn't show it off enough because he's a fun guy and does fun things, but the man is so incredibly educated about US infrastructure and city building that one day we have to force Dava to make a Professor Dava stream and educate all of us about US infrastructure and history. Yeah, I love that. I really, even though my stream is very different from that, because that's not really as much, I'm not that much of an infrastructurist nerd or infrastructure nerd in my free time outside of playing cities. So I don't think I could make that very interesting, but somebody like Dava or even you are very much interested in that and have knowledge. I think is super interesting to get that shared. That's the part of storytelling I very much enjoy in city videos. What I never enjoyed in any city YouTube content is like 4 storylines. Or I shouldn't name names, but I don't know, if you make an imaginary person and then spin a story around it just to get some story into your city, I don't think that is needed. Just give it a bit of background, but if there is actual story and interesting things to learn, then I goddamn love it. It's a bit with Google Maps for me, right? Like, I don't, in my free time, I'm not the kind of person who just go on Google Maps and looks at different things there. But if somebody else does so on their stream, I love it. I'm having the best time. Or even if somebody posts nice places in Google Maps into my Discord that I can easily find and check into, I'm having a great time. I'm just too lazy to actually run around in Google Maps to find the cool places. I just need somebody that knows the good places to show them to me. I guess the only thing where I could actually maybe do an interesting overview for people from elsewhere, I could do a cool Google Maps Hamburg tour maybe sometime. I think Hamburg has very interesting and beautiful and curious places that I'm educated about, and I can tell a lot about it. And for US things, and since my build is in the US, I'm mainly in need of US inspiration. But it's also the part I know a lot less about than about Europe. Yeah, the sending stuff for me does a lot, right? Because I love my Google Maps Discord channel. If anybody always or ever finds something cool on Google Maps and wants to share it, I'm happy to do so in my Discord. Because I love looking at that, but whenever I open Google Maps, I zoom in somewhere. I'm in the most boring road I've ever seen in my entire life. And I randomly click around and find a collection of the most boring and uninspirational places in Google Maps. And then I do that for 20 minutes and then I rage quit and do something else. Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised, Chaos, because as every person from Hamburg, I am very arrogant and aware of how pretty Hamburg is. Obviously, that's the only acceptable answer. Of course, there is no other city in Germany that's even close to being as pretty as Hamburg is. I guess München is also not half bad, but the truth for me is always gonna be that München is a really boring city. What München has that Hamburg doesn't is absolutely stunning landscape and mountains around it. And that makes me like the city a lot, but is that actually because of the city itself? Not at all. I don't really care too much about the city. And now look at this, even though this is not much, but even just the very first base layer of detailing in the surfaces in the lower right corner, this already starts to look a lot more fitting to our build. Now what mainly hurts is the very empty residential yards that we need to put work into. Leipzig is also very pretty, so I agree. And morning for you, but for me it could not be much further away from morning. In fact, I will have to find somebody to raid out to very soon, because I have to get ready for bed, because it's nearing midnight over here in Germany. But nice to see you, Hippie, and hope you're having a nice morning. I'm not sure where you're from, so I'm not sure if it's already Tuesday morning for you, or if you're behind and live in the past and it's still Monday morning. Okay, fair enough. That actually is something that me as a person from northern Germany can very much relate to, because in Germany, generally people only say morning during the morning. In northern Germany we say moin, which kinda stands for morning, but we don't use it as such. We use that at any time during the day. If you see somebody, you say moin, even though technically that's not correct, so I can get behind it. Okay, and here obviously we're gonna spend a lot of time detailing this out. Maybe we can even start today, because I will have to head off soon, so it's not like we're gonna get super much done. But we definitely need this to have a nice, proper, cute outdoor area. And sadly, since the visuals are so different between the pre-made table sets and the individual ones, we always place them by hand, and that's exactly what we're gonna do here. So it's gonna take us a while. Just gonna place the tables for now, and then we go on there with... Hold on, in a table like this, would the chairs be... I guess we have to place it this way to get it the way I want. Else people sit with their legs, hitting the legs of the table right away. We're gonna heat that out right away and place that in the right orientation instead. Obviously the color is horrible, but we're gonna recolor that afterwards. Holy shit, 2 days? That seems rough. What is the cause of that? Broken pipe or something? Were you at least warned beforehand, so you had time to prepare for that? Or is that something that caught you off guard? Because I think if it's something you prepare yourself for, because you know it's construction, then somehow handleable. But then if you just lose your water for 2 days out of nowhere, that seems really rough. Oh, well, I guess if you are the one who broke it in the first place, you can't complain about it. But yeah, that's still unfortunate. Wishing you luck that it's back tomorrow. Well, I also wish you that it doesn't blow out. It does not seem very pleasurable. Especially after not having water for so long. When it's back, you actually want it to be back and not break right away. The question is if we also should put more tables here, but I think it's getting too big and too many tables. I think we're gonna open the area a bit with planters instead, and I want maybe even one of these very big ones, because we actually have quite a bit of space here. I like this a lot. Yes, we're gonna go with this very big planter here to break this area off a bit. And yeah, we're gonna go in with more planters in general, but just to get this one to block the space a bit more appropriate. I wanted to see it, because we need to move these a bit down, and maybe even move all of the 4 a tad closer to the ending here. I think that should be pretty good. So all I'm hearing Hippie say is now the place you live in, I imagine to be very similar to... Where is it? This? Maybe, because now you keep talking about chicken coop. Maybe you also have cockfighting in your background. Or in your backyard, I mean. Probably not. Would not be very ethical, and I'm sure you're better than this. But really, it does make me think about this build we did here with a chicken coop and a cockfighting ring in the backyard. Well, see, then I guess I've not been too far off. Then I guess you will feel right at home in my neighborhood. That sounds like your neighbors are a bit rednecky. And pretty much the entire theme of our build is being a crazy redneck paradise. So this is where you feel right at home. Yeah, I guess if you live proper in the countryside, your place is probably more something like this, where you're surrounded by fields everywhere, left and right. But that's so cool, honestly, because it's very close to the theme of our general build here. To be honest, at the start, I used to have a good track of whose house is what, because the city was a bit smaller. By now, we've been in this for a little over 5 months, and we have sold so many properties to different kind of people that I lost track. I remember some houses. I'm not sure if I know one of your houses, but I do think you actually have multiple in Los Vagos by now, and I don't think I can get all of them together. This seems like a fitting chair for this. Okay, now begins the pain, because yeah, I know we could also use a table set, but they would be perfectly aligned and smooth and look too good compared to what we actually want here. Yeah, you have a big house in the fancy area, and I think you might also have one in the waterfront. I'm not sure. A lot of the earlier people bought houses in the waterfront. I'm not sure if you're one of those as well. But I know that you're close in the area where many people have big mansions as well. Look who it is. It's Mr. I can pronounce your name perfectly fine now. I could say welcome in Matvey. But then just because you or not appreciate it so much when I say Matej, I'm gonna say welcome in Matej. How are things doing? How are you doing? Well, alright then, cutie. You know, bullying is my love language, so if I'm ever mean to you, don't take it the wrong way, you know where it comes from. But we're just placing chairs, and I'm about to raid out and head to bed, so even if you leave, it's not like you're missing much. But you've not been in a while, and I can show you what we've been building on, because I'm actually low-key very proud of this build. Look at this absolute beauty. We finally went in and built a mine that always should have been here in the first place. And we have an absolute gigantic, pretty build-out mine here. And then we have an absolute gigantic, not fully finished, but close to being finished quarry on this side that we built out. And the last piece of the puzzle that we're working on now is this abandoned, rundown Gold Rush town that we're making progress on. Yeah, I mean, everybody prefers my rock recolor streams, but fear not, I think soon we're gonna have to make a rock recolor stream. Because I want to turn this entire weird mountain cliffside similar to this. Which means we're gonna place a lot of plants, we're gonna place a lot of rocks, and then we're gonna recolor all of that. So be assured there is no shortage of placing or recoloring rocks in this stream. And I mean, I'm sad that you can't tune into my streams, but then you working hard as fuck generally means your work is going good, so I'm happy for you. That sounds nice. Yeah, maybe I do that, because honestly, this probably is, in my humble opinion, the best build I ever did. Which does not mean too much. My builds are not that amazing in general, but I am, for once, very satisfied with what we put here. So, yeah, wholeheartedly loving this. And I always imagined something like this, but then this turned out a lot different than what I thought this is gonna turn into. And generally, if things turn out different than I thought they would, they turn out better than I thought they would, so I'm not gonna complain. In general, I would like to do some more YouTube videos. The thing is just that I am short on time and I'm not sure how realistic it is for me to get to do YouTube. I can make more YouTube videos, but that directly means I'm gonna stream less as well. Because I can't really make more time for this. Which is fine. Maybe sometimes when I'm a bit burned out from Cities, then I can make some videos instead of playing the game. I mean, really, I think this is just possible thanks to the amazing Starcube ploppable blocks fight. So I am happy with how this turned out, but then Starcube is the one who mainly deserves big credit for all of this. Why does it look so dark here and so much lighter there? I don't love that. What about this? Upside down. Nah, that has too little contrast. We're gonna take the green and then we're just gonna make it darker or a bit lighter instead, I mean. But the beige has too little contrast. And I'm excited because I already can tell, like, you're not the only person. I think people seeing how much flexibility the Starcube resource blocks give us with specialized industry is gonna lead to more sick, nice mine and quarry builds in future as well. Because really, none of this would have been possible just, I don't know, a month ago. Because we did not have the resource blocks yet, so none of this would have been doable. The colors are so different here. Holy shit, I hate it. Please look like the building. Like this, I guess, works. Yeah.
Bye, have a great time.
Bye-bye, Matscore. Have a good night, and thanks for tuning in. Yeah, you too. Good night, sweet dreams, and see you soon. I'm gonna have to follow your lead very soon as well, because I'm gonna have to get up very early tomorrow, so I should wrap up the stream. I was gonna say till latest 12 o'clock, but while I looked at the clock, I saw it is 12 o'clock, so I'm gonna eat my words, I guess latest 10 past 12 or something, because yeah, otherwise we already failed our mission of wrapping up when I wanted to. So I guess it's also not a terrible moment to actually use the moment, even though it's sad, because Matvey just came in and it's been a while. But yeah, I have to get up very early tomorrow, and I do think this is a nice cutter. I'm gonna try to finish some of the very small, boring things here off stream and play some sims and complete those loaders and something. And then in the next stream, we're gonna continue working our way up here and really tackle this area. I don't think this area needs that much. I think with just the layout and all of the assets we have already, it's mainly showing love and working things in and putting some proper details in there. But generally, this is pretty good. And then we have to do this, which I guess people love me recoloring rocks, so this is probably the stream that people are more excited about, because we will have to apply the technique we used here to all of this. We want this to go along all of this till up here, and we want this to go along all of this here as well, which probably is gonna take us a full stream, if not even longer. So no, I have not checked anything in Poe at all. I actually missed that there is a new leak. I just seen that when many people in my friend list suddenly were playing Poe, and I figured there has to be a reason for everybody blasting Poe again. I have not. I would be interested in doing that if I have a bit more time, but I literally have neither Poe 1 nor Poe 2 installed at the moment, so I'd have to reinstall it first again. But gladly tell me about it. Actually, for that, I'm gonna stay and detail a bit more, because I wanna hear your opinion on new Poe League and how it is. Because if anybody is wondering what we're talking about Path of Exile, which is a very fun and amazing ARPG, and they have leagues, which is like seasonal reset pretty much. And apparently there is a new league for the new Path of Exile. So I'm curious. And if people like ARPGs and think Diablo is a good game, then reconsider, because Path of Exile is a better Diablo. It's a really great game. Like I had a bit of an unhealthy relationship with that game, so I don't play it that much anymore. I think it's a game that to really be rewarding and fun, you need to dedicate a bit more time than I'm willing to actually invest into a game. But if you like really diving hard into games, then Path of Exile is probably the best game to do that in. It's good. And how is community reaction? Everybody likes it? Or you like it, but people are unhappy? Like, what is there to expect? Yeah, I mean, then if that was you in the past, then I'm gonna tell you, if you download Path of Exile Chaos, it's gonna take roughly a year till your wife starts hinting that maybe you guys have to think about divorce, and it's gonna take 2 years longer till your kids are not gonna come visit anymore because you're busy playing Path of Exile. So, amazing game. You would have the best time of your life, but also you probably have no more time for your wife or your kids. So, difficult. Great game, but difficult as well. It's one of the reasons why I have not played that game in a long time, even though I think it's a very good game, and maybe I should check out that new league. But it's pretty much a good version of Diablo, really. That is all you need to say about Pass of Exile. It's the Diablo in good. And what is the new league about? What's the theme? What is it you're doing? Is there any cool lore we're getting input already? And now you actually made me pique my interest in Pro 2. Maybe I'm gonna have to watch a video on the new league before I head to that after I end the stream. Oh, what do you mean asynchronous trade? People can actually buy something while you're not online? Because if so, then what the fuck? I never expected that to happen. And I don't know why this happens. Sometimes you can't properly target these rocks unless you move them up a bit, which is slightly frustrating, but I guess it is what it is. That one is a bit too close still, and then these two were in the way. Now this looks a lot more appropriate. Maybe I'm gonna think about some nice custom signage for these as well, though generally I do think this is a part of the city I want to be actually still alive and active, because it's so close to the actual functioning and intact mine industry. But then the further we go up here, the less of these buildings I actually want to be taken. Like maybe in this block, for example, I want like one of these houses, maybe this middle one here, to be intact and have a business in it. But then the one left and right of it, I kind of want them to be very run down and closed off already, to really show that this is a dying gold town. I mean, honestly, I loved Abyss, so that alone sounds pretty fun. And actually glad that the community seems to like it, because initially I don't think the response to Pod 2 has been... Well, it's been okay, but it's not been as positive as I thought it deserved it. Lamau, that's nice. Yeah, I can't imagine it. Do you have a very powerful computer, Hippie? Because I don't think my computer would be able to handle a city of 1 million at all. I think I can play somewhat acceptable up to like 400,000. And then it becomes so slow in simulation speed that I'd rather just restart and play a different city than dealing with those slow speeds. Well, I mean, the RAM, I guess, is not yet necessary in cities, but yeah, the processor alone makes sense that you were not struggling. But they use the computers that people use to play the same game that I play on my shitty 800 euro self-build. I'm over-exaggerating, but I'm not kidding when I tell you I daily have people with 5090s in chat, and there is people who have Threadrippers to play Cities Skylines. Like, I'm not over-exaggerating. This game has a very hardcore community, and people are willing to ditch out a big amount to play the game with as many frames as they can. Kinda, a bit, yeah. Like I did ask you about second opinion if you think what I think is fine, and yeah, you generally did tell me and verify if my choices are okay or not. Yeah, to be honest, I'm gonna no. This is exactly the same computer that you helped me build like 2 or 3 years ago. But yeah, I should also use a moment because it's really getting late for me. I'm gonna put you guys in some nice overview of the build we've been building, and then I'm gonna jump on Twitch and see you streaming. And if there is something nice, I can raid you guys out too. And as always, cuties, thank you so much for tuning in. It's a pleasure to have you guys here. And hope all of you have a nice night. And maybe some of you have a wish for who we can raid. I'm still opening my browser, so
That's
I don't
cute.
know who's available yet. Perfect actually. Muzi is still streaming, so easy choice. I'm just gonna send you guys over to Moose and hope you enjoy your time over there. Well, maybe Moose can pass it on to you later. We will see. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. And hope you have an amazing time over at Moose. And I'll probably try to stream once more towards the end of the week, but I don't have that much time at the moment, so I'm not sure when I'll manage. But again, thank you so much for tuning in and have an absolute wonderful night, cuties. Bye bye.